Hi all, welcome to Try Technologies and DevOps Factory. Please subscribe our channel who are watching in YouTube and also who are on the trylearning.com. Okay, so please watch all the videos. You guys can get all the free videos. You can enroll for all the videos which are free, and also if you want to go for 99 rupees subscription. Okay, so there are a lot of courses with 99 rupees. So we are doing continuous delivery, or else you can say it as a DevOps using Docker and Jenkins. So we have already done Docker. Okay, so hope you guys have got a clear picture of what Docker is and how it works and all that stuff. Okay, so we have already done that. Hope you have got a clear picture of that. So now we will talk about Jenkins. Okay, so Jenkins is very important part when you are talking about continuous integration and delivery. So we'll check like how this continuous delivery process and how we need to automate servers, like uh, how we can automate the Jenkins, or how we can configure, and how we can do all the tasks related to the Jenkins. Okay, so and also we'll talk more about Jenkins architecture as well. We'll see what is Jenkins, and first we'll see what is Jenkins. Okay, it's very important, like what exactly we are doing on Jenkins. Then we'll see installation of Jenkins, how you install Jenkins, and also then we'll run a basic pipeline. Okay, so it's just an example pipeline. Okay, it might be anything, and we will see the architecture of the Jenkins. Then we'll see how we can configure the agents in the Jenkins. Then we'll see how we can customize the images using Jenkins, and we'll see how we can configure and how we are going to manage the Jenkins. Okay, so we'll see configuration and management of the Jenkins. So whenever we are starting off with the Jenkins, or whenever we thought of moving into the Jenkins, okay, so what else, what are the things are required? Okay, so we'll see all the technical requirements. Okay, so what are the things required when we are going with the Jenkins? Okay, so what are the technical requirements you need, and whenever you wanted to set up the Jenkins, what things are required? So you should have your Java being installed on your machine. It might be Java 8 plus, and also you should have minimum of 4 GB RAM, and also you should have at least 10 GB of disk. Okay, so minimum is 1 GB, but it is always good if you have 10 GB of disk, so that it will be very easy. And also we can install Jenkins in different methods. We can go with the Docker, we can go with Kubernetes, you can go with the normal server installations, like you can go on Windows, you can install it on Ubuntu, Debian, or you can install it on CentOS, okay, Red Hat, whatever you wanted. Okay, so you can go with any of these things. Okay, so we'll see. We'll cover with the Docker, like how we can do that. Okay, so we'll see all the installation methods anyway. Okay, so what exactly the Jenkins is? Okay, so the first part, like I said, you should know what is Jenkins, what exactly Jenkins is doing, and also if someone asks you like in the interview, like what exactly is Jenkins? Okay, Jenkins is very popular in continuous integration and delivery tool, and also the main thing is it's an open source automation server. Okay, so it's an open source which is written in Java. So whenever you see the Jenkins source code, it is written in Java, and also it is having a very active community. So whenever you have an active community support, the tool will be more popular. Okay, so the reason why Jenkins is also more popular, because Jenkins have a very active community which supports, and also there are huge number of plugins where you can go and add on those plugins and work with the um, tools, or you can integrate tools with the Jenkins. So there are a lot of plugins, huge number of plugins which are supported, and also it is the most popular tools for implementing your continuous integration and continuous delivery process. Okay, and also like this is actually Oracle who bought this, I guess. Like this is previously called as Hudson, but Oracle is the one who bought this Hudson and decided to develop it as a proprietary software. Okay, so it is nothing but like Jenkins is came from Hudson. Okay, so you can check that. Okay, so if you want to go for the history of Jenkins, okay, so that is called as Hudson. Okay, so mainly Jenkins is the one which is used extensively in the Indian market. Okay, so when I'm saying in Indian market, because when you see there are something called Bamboo, so there's something called GitLab CI. GitLab CI is also one which is been used now. Okay, so when you compare with the Jenkins, but with all these stuff, like whenever you are going for the openings, okay, so whenever you're going for the job, okay, so Jenkins is the one which is mostly asked tool. Okay, so and also like when you compare with other continuous integrations tools, it is the one which is widely used software of its kind. Okay, so it is always running or it is competing with the all the tools, and it is running first because of few advantages or few of the characteristics. Okay, so like I said, one thing is language agnostic, nothing but Jenkins has lot of plugins. Okay, so there are a lot of plugins which Jenkins supports, and also most of the programming languages frameworks are supported. Most of the programming language, whenever you say like most of the programming languages or the frameworks are getting supported, then you can say like this is a language agnostic. Okay, this is one of the advantages, and also extensible by plugins. Okay, you can say it as extensible by plugins. Nothing but it has a very great community. Okay, so there are a lot of like plugins which are available. Over thousands of plugins are available, and also it allows you to write your own plugin to customize Jenkins. So if you want to customize anything, you can extend that plugin. Okay, so extensible. Nothing but you can add your own plugins. That is one of the major advantages in the Jenkins, and also portable. So Jenkins is the one which is written in Java, like I said, but it can run on any operating system. Okay, so it might be your Ubuntu, it might be your Linux, Windows, Mac, it might be Docker, it might be Kubernetes. Okay, so it can run in any operating system, and also you can also deliver this with a WAR files. Okay, so using WAR files, that is web application archive files, also you can go and install. Okay, so that is also one of the major advantages, and that is the reason why we are calling it as portable. Okay, and also it supports most source code management tools. Okay, so there are a lot of managed source code management tools. Okay, so it supports most of them. Okay, so like your source code management tools, like if you want to build tools that exist, or if you want to have a larger community and number of plugins. Okay, so there's no tool which supports these many SEMs. Okay, so and also it is called as distributed. Why it is distributed? Because it is a built-in mechanism for the master and agent mode. Okay, so it is a distributed environment where you are managing it master and agents, right? So you are not hosting everything on the master. Okay, so it is a distributed, and also it is very simple. So installation and configuration process is very simple, and there is no need to configure any additional softwares, or there is no required of any databases as such. There is no connectivity of database and all that stuff. Okay, so it's very easy and easy to install, and also it's configured completely through GUI or XML or your Groovy scripts. Okay, so that is very advantageous. That is the reason why we are calling it as very simple, or you can say simplicity is one of the advantages of Jenkins. And also it's code oriented. Is like Jenkins pipelines which are defined as code. Okay, so it is always a code oriented tool. Okay, so these are all the advantages. Okay, so these are all the advantages. These are the things why people are more into the Jenkins. Okay, so why people are aligned more into the Jenkins, because of these reasons. Okay, so we'll see how we can install the Jenkins. Okay, so you can install the Jenkins, like I said, you can go with the application GRE package, or you can go with the dedicated package Docker, Kubernetes. You can go software as a service. Nothing but you can go into the cloud. If you go into the cloud, and if you want to get the package of the Jenkins, you can go to AWS, Google Cloud. You can get the package. Like you can directly go and get the Jenkins software as a service, and you can work on that. Okay, so let me go to my box, and we'll try to go with the Docker first. Okay, so we'll try to install Docker, and we'll do with the Docker. Okay, so now you guys know what is Docker. You guys know how to build the images. You guys know how to pull the images. Okay, so you know all that stuff. We have already done that in the last session. Okay, so now what I will do, okay, okay, so now we want to create a Jenkins on the Docker. So you need to use the image called Jenkins, which is on the Docker Hub, and also you need to expose this to a port that is 8080 anyway. Okay, so you guys can go and expose that. Okay, so let's just go and check if already my this thing is there. Okay, so I'll say localhost 8080. Okay, so already my Jenkins is running on the box. Okay, so on my local box. Okay, so what I will do is I'll just see if my Docker is running. Okay, it's not running. Let me start. Okay, now I'll check the status. Okay, now if you see my Docker is running here. Okay, so now what I'll do, I'll say Docker run. Okay, so if you want to publish, if you want to expose the port, you'll do -p, that you guys know. Okay, so I'll go with 8081. Okay, 8081 is my host port. Okay, so this is my host port because 8080 has already been exposed and local Jenkins is already running. So when I wanted to do from the Docker, I'll expose it to 8081, right? And also I want to expose, I want to have a volume. Okay, so I want a volume to be deployed, and I want this as a persistent volume. Okay, so whenever my Docker goes off, I don't want my data to be gone. Okay, so you have already known that. Okay, so I've already shown that like how we can do that. So what I'll do, I'll just create a Jenkins home. Okay, so I'll say Jenkins underscore home. Okay, I'm just creating something with Jenkins underscore home. Okay, so this is my directory. Okay, it is already there now. So okay, so now I'm going with the command docker run -d in a detached mode -p, that is we are publishing with 8081 because I have already Jenkins box which is running locally with 8080. So this is my volume which I have created Jenkins underscore home, and this is on the Docker host, this is on the Jenkins box. Okay, so this is the image Jenkins / Jenkins, and I'm giving name it as Jenkins. Okay, so now I'll try to run this. Okay, so now if I say docker ps-a, okay, so it's running. Okay, so if you see here, it says it is running. If I go to my local box and I'll say localhost with 8081. Okay, okay, so it's just loading. Okay, so I got the prompt, so it is asking for the initial password. Okay, so now you can go and check for the initial password. Okay, so how you get the initial password? You can go to the Docker. Sorry, this is my 8081. So I'll just go to the Docker. I'll say Docker logs Jenkins. Okay, so if you go down here, it says that please use the following password. Okay, so this is my initial password. I'm just using this password. I'll just paste this. I'll say go ahead. Okay, and we can go for the initial configuration, install suggested plugins. Okay, we'll wait for plugins to get installed. Okay, so it is installing all my plugins. Okay, so we'll wait for all the plugins to get installed, and I will create our username and password. Okay, so it will take some time. Okay, so we'll wait for that. Anyway, we can also do this on the Kubernetes. Okay, so how you can install Kubernetes, so Jenkins on Kubernetes. Okay, so whenever you wanted to install Jenkins on Kubernetes, you can do with two ways. Okay, so one is with the Helm and one is with the operators. Okay, so if you want to go with the Helm, okay, so you need to install the Helm. So if you don't have Helm, just check whether you have Helm inside your box. Okay, so here I don't have any Helm installed. Okay, so if you want to install the Helm, you can go to the Helm install on Linux. Okay, so we'll just see like how we can install Helm on the Linux box. Okay, so here you can see like the download your desired version. It says unpack the tar version or Okay, so I have installed Helm here. Okay, you guys can go for the Helm. Okay, so just go to the Linux AMD64, just copy that link. I just have done the same thing. Okay, so I've just done the wget. After wget, okay, so I went into that and I've moved that into the bin directory. Okay, so this is how we can do one of the options. So now we wanted to install the Jenkins on the Kubernetes. Okay, so if you see, I have kind installed. Okay, so I'll say kubectl get pods. Okay, so something is running in my machine, or if I say kubectl get nodes. Okay, so there's one control node which is running. Okay, so that is of a kind Kubernetes. Okay, so now we can go and install it with Helm. Okay, so I'll say Helm repo add, I'll say Jenkins CI. So this is the repo I wanted to add, and also where I can get this repo from. So I can get this from chats, right? So I'll say chats.jenkins.io. Okay, so Jenkins CI has been added to your repository. Okay, so I'll say helm repo updates. Okay, so it just got updated successfully. I got an update from the Jenkins CI. Okay, so now I'll say helm install Jenkins Jenkins CI / Jenkins. Okay, so this is my Jenkins image I'm getting from the Helm chats. Okay, so let us get it. Okay, so it just says get your admin user password by running. Okay, this is fine, and it just shows like what all the things I've got installed. Okay, so if I say kubectl get sts. Okay, so if you see here, this is my Jenkins. Okay, so it's still running. Okay, so I'll say get pods. Okay, so it is initializing my Jenkins. Okay, so we'll wait for some time. Okay, so still my Jenkins is running. Okay, so I'll wait for that. If you want to check what is happening, you can say kubectl describe pod Jenkins -0. Okay, so still it's not initialized. Okay, so when I say get events, so it's still starting container init, waiting for first customer consumer to be created before binding. Okay, waiting for volume to be created either by external or the local. Okay, so it should be locally created. Okay, so we go with the PVC. Okay, so it has created my PVC already. Okay, so it's just successfully assigned. So it's just pulling the JDK, successfully pulled. It says created container init, started container init. Okay, get pods. Okay, I don't see any errors as such till now. Okay, still it's waiting. Okay, waiting reason pod initializing. Okay, looks good for me. We'll wait for some time. Okay, so now if I say kubectl get pods, okay, so it is in running state. Okay, so now it is in running state. Okay, so we need to get the secrets out of it. Okay, so nothing but we need to get the password. Okay, so whenever we have ran, okay, so it just went off anyway. So whenever you have ran, okay, so you have got that one of the display on display you have got one of the commands. Okay, but I have not copied it. Anyway, I'll just type it saying that kubectl get secrets. And I'll say Jenkins -o, and I can get the JSON path, and I will try to get that password with dot data dot Jenkins -admin password. Okay, and I'll close this, and it's base 64 -b code. Okay, so Okay, let us wait if this fetches the password. Okay, so it just fetched my password. Okay, so now we have not exposed this. Okay, so if you want to expose this to the service, okay, so what you can do kubectl port hyphen forward, and I'll say STS is my Jenkins, and I'll expose it on 8082. Okay, so now on 8082 it is exposed. Okay, so this is on 8081. Okay, so on 8081 it is getting downloaded. Okay, so again same thing, we can go with the 8082. Okay, so let me close this. Okay, let me close this. Okay, I'll go with localhost 8082. Okay, so on 8082 my Jenkins is coming up. Okay, so this is my 8082 Jenkins, which is on Kubernetes. Okay, so this is on Kubernetes, and I'll say just same thing like admin, and I'll give my password which I have copied from there. Okay, did I copy this? Copy, paste, sign. Let's see. Okay, so it's just coming up. Okay, so this is my dashboard. Okay, so this is on Kubernetes. Okay, so this is running on Kubernetes. Okay, so this is how you can do it on Kubernetes. You can do it on Docker, and also you know how to do it on generic way, right? So, and now if I go with the new item, and I'll just say a pipeline, and I'll say hello proprietary technologies, and I'll say okay. I just wanted to stop the Docker, okay, so because it is also running in the background. Okay, what I do is okay. Okay, I'll just stop Docker Jenkins, okay, because it's just stopping. Oh, okay, I've clicked it twice. Okay, so now I'll go into this hello proprietary technologies. Okay, so you can configure this. You can click on configure. So you can go to the advanced project options, and you can write your script, whatever script you wanted to write. For example, if I want to write pipeline, I'll just say pipeline, and agent as any, and I'll do stages, and I'll say stage as hello, and I'll give steps, right, and I'll say echo hi subscribers. Okay, simple thing. Okay, so I'll just apply, and I'll say save, and if I do build now, okay, so it is building my pipeline. I'll go to console output. It just should say hello or hi subscribers, right? Because I'm running on the VM, okay, so it is bit slow, but when you do it on your machines, it will be very fast. Okay, so I'll run anyway. I'll run it on the local sometime. Okay, so I'm just showing you the example anyway. Okay, so if you see here, it says hi subscribers and finished success. Okay, so this is how you can just build a simple. I just given you a simple example pipeline. Okay, so next we'll go for the architecture. Okay, so how Jenkins architecture looks like when we are talking about master and agents, we have run in the pipeline saying that agents as any, all that stuff, right? So what is Jenkins architecture? Okay, so when we ran this hello world, okay, so or hello hi subscribers, okay, so it just ran within no time. Okay, so the pipelines are usually more complex. Okay, so I need like whenever we are doing something, okay, so time spent on tasks like downloading files from the internet or compiling source code or running tests, okay, one build can take few minutes to hours. Okay, so it is a simple pipeline which ran within few seconds. But if you have a complex pipeline, complex code where you need to get some source code from somewhere else, or if you want to download some source code within your pipeline, or if you want to compile some source code, or you want to run some test, or you want to do some unit test running on the same pipeline. Okay, so these all stuff will take you takes like huge time. Okay, so like huge time in the sense some of the pipelines will take a few hours also. Okay, so in such scenarios there is also many concurrent pipelines. Okay, so like we are not going to run only one pipeline in the project, right? There will be many pipelines which will be running concurrently. So as a whole team or as a whole organization, Jenkins instances, like will be using this Jenkins instance as per our project. For example, I have 12 members of team. Okay, so someone are working on a development, someone working on a production, or someone working on a testing. Okay, maybe you have 3 different instances for the Jenkins, but anyway, whenever you are running it on the development, there will be a huge number of pipelines concurrently running within the organization or within your team. Okay, so your team members or your colleagues will be running few pipelines, you will be running a few pipelines. Okay, so like how you will ensure that build will run quickly and smoothly. Okay, so that is the main agenda of everything, right? So whenever you run something, it should come up fastly. Okay, so whenever there are 10 or 15 pipelines running in the Jenkins with lot of team members are doing testing or development, it should run quickly. It should not take hours and hours time. Okay, so the reason why it has always, or Jenkins has come up with thing called master and agents. Okay, so that is where we got it, master and agents. And people might ask you like why you need agents, because this is the reason. There will be multiple pipelines running, and whenever something is running, it should run on the agent. Okay, so Jenkins always becomes overloaded. Okay, so when you don't have, or when there are a lot of people running pipelines on the Jenkins, so for a small microservice also, the build can take few minutes. Okay, at least like 3 4 5 minutes. Okay, so nothing but that one team committing frequently can easily make your Jenkins unavailable, or it will kill your box. Okay, so it will kill your Jenkins box. Okay, so unless the project is really small, or Jenkins should not execute builds at all, but delegate them to the agents. Okay, so it should delegate the task or pipeline to the agent, or you can say it as slave instances. Okay, so the Jenkins server we are currently running is called the Jenkins master. Whatever the server we are running it as is called as a master, and we can give the task. Okay, so wherever I wanted to execute a task, for example, if I want to run a pipeline, if I want to run a task, okay, so what we can do is we can assign that task to the agent instead of running on the master. Okay, so it is always better that you are distributing the load or distributing the jobs. Okay, so how that looks like, so for example, if I am running a Jenkins master, okay, so this is my Jenkins master. Okay, so for example, if I am running multiple jobs, okay, so these are all my jobs. Okay, so whenever someone is running, okay, so it might be anyone. Okay, so who is sitting here? Okay, it might be a developer, it might be a production or DevOps engineer. Okay, so whoever it is. Okay, so whenever there are Jenkins master sitting with multiple jobs, so what we'll do is we'll create some of the agents. Okay, so we call it as Jenkins agents. Okay, so it might be 1, it might be 2, it might be 3, it might be 4. Okay, it totally depends on how you are doing it. Okay, so whenever we are doing whenever we are creating a Jenkins agent, okay, so we are creating a executor here. Okay, so will be executor 1 for the job 1, and if you want to run the same job on the same agent, second job also on the same agent, you can go with the executor 2, right? So how this happens, will be happening with the TCP IP. Okay, and the third job you want to run it on a different agent, you can go and run that on the different agent. Okay, that is executor 3. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Okay, so whenever the jobs are running on the master, okay, so it will distribute. Okay, so this is nothing but a distribute build environment. Okay, so Jenkins master is the one which is responsible for receiving build triggers. Okay, so whatever the build triggers, like whenever there is a commit, or whenever you are using GitHub, whenever there is a commit, okay, so whenever there is a commit, there will be a build trigger. Okay, so build trigger is received by the Jenkins master, and it will also the like Jenkins master is the one who is responsible for that. Okay, and also Jenkins master is responsible to send all the notifications, like for example, if any build got failed. Okay, so who will be sending that notification? Master node with the one, or the master is the responsible. Jenkins master is the responsible to send the notifications like emails or Slack message, whatever it is. And also master is responsible to handle all your HTTP requests. Okay, so nothing but whatever is coming from the client. Okay, so whatever coming from the client. So who is responsible? Your master, that is HTTP request, whatever coming from the client, that is like the responsibility of master is to handle all those requests. And also master is responsible for the for building the environment or managing the build environment. Okay, so you need like job execution on agents is everything is orchestrated by your master. Okay, so the build agent, okay, so is a machine which that take care of everything that happens after a build has started. So your build agent will be in the machine which will take care of all these builds. So master is nothing but this is like uh, a dedicated machine, like what I have shown you just now, right? So if you are going for the Kubernetes, or if you are going for the Docker, or if you are going for a machine or whatever it is, okay, so master is the one which is like which works as a dedicated machine. Okay, so with having at least a RAM of 4 or 6 GB for minimum, like in the real time. Okay, so but the minimum will be 200 MB. Okay, so maximum will be 70 GB. Okay, so this is a standard range which is given by the Jenkins, or documentation on the Jenkins. It totally depends on how big or how small your project is. Okay, so that is one thing. And whenever you are talking about agent, there is no like generic requirement for the agent. Okay, so it might be capable of executing single build, or it might be capable of multiple builds. Okay, so it totally depends on what kind of capability you want for the agent. Okay, so it totally depends on the project. And also your agent should also be as generic as possible. For example, like if you have different projects, like one is on Java, one is on Python, or one is on Ruby. Okay, so it should be like perfect, like if each agent could build any of this project. It's not like you are restricting to this only for Java, this is only for Python. Okay, so you should make sure that like it should be very generic as possible. Okay, so like nothing but you can run any kind of project or any different projects, whatever projects is running, you can run that on them. Okay, so next comes your scalability. Okay, so whenever you are talking about Jenkins, or whenever you are talking about any platform with infrastructure, it is always important that how scalable it is, because there is always a chance of growing of your pipelines or usage. Okay, so whenever there is a huge request of usage, okay, so Jenkins instances can quickly become overload, or they can become unresponsive. So you just need to make sure that you have the concept of scaling already in place. Okay, without scaling you cannot do, or you cannot handle the load which is coming to your Jenkins. Okay, so whenever you are talking about scaling, you always know like there are two types of scaling. Okay, so one is vertical scaling, one is horizontal scaling. So vertical scaling is nothing but you are like whenever the master load grows, okay, so you applying the more resources to that, like nothing but you are increasing the RAM of the master, or you increasing the CPU of the master. Okay, so which is called as vertical scaling. Okay, but when you're talking about horizontal scaling, okay, so horizontal scaling is the one which is extensively used nowadays in the cloud, and because of the cloud, it is very easy for us to do the horizontal scaling. Okay, so whenever the organization grows, master instances, whenever we are launching the master instances, this requires a smart allocation, nothing but it should automatically check whether it requires to grow, or it requires to add one more server, or if there are no load, it should make sure that it will remove the one which it is created. For example, I have a node which is running with 4 GB. Okay, so now I have a requirement where I need 8 GB. Then it should create one more server with the 4 GB. And again, my requirement gone down to 4 GB. Then I will remove this. Okay, so this all will happen. This all will happen automatically when you have a auto scaling in your cloud provider or within your on-premise. Okay, so it is always better that we go with the horizontal scaling. Okay, so master machines don't need to be special. Okay, so in terms of hardware, okay, so different teams can have different Jenkins setups, like they will have different set of plugins. Okay, so it totally depends on how you are managing and how your teams are usually using this efficiently. Okay, so it totally depends on the project, it totally depends on how you are working on it. Okay, so you should make sure that if one master instance goes down, it should not impact your whole project. And also, you should always make sure that you segregate the infrastructure so that it should be a mission critical. Okay, so it should not, like, anytime you should not depend on one machine. Okay, so it should be always high availability. If something goes wrong on one master, it should not say that, okay, so my project went down because the master is down. Okay, so you should make sure that there is no impact on the project or the organization whenever there is something wrong with your master. Okay, so we'll see, like, simple or the architectures, like how we can define that also. And also we'll see how we can set these agents. Okay, so setting up agents is very important. Like, whenever you're working in the real time, it is very important that how you are setting these agents up, because the master node should not get load up. Okay, so it should always be segregated, or it is always be handled in a way that whenever there is an execution job, there are more number of pipelines coming in, it should create a slave, or it should create an agent, and it should send that job to that agent.